You were a wrestler.
Yeah. I got bullied hard, by being a little short ass. And so I had to learn how to move, use that by an old co-marcher that fought in the Second World War. And I like wrestling because it's smooth, it's nice. We call it it's an old fighting strategy in our world, in our Māori. I used to do the curtain races for John de Silva.
What was your stage name, though?
I don't want to say. Because it's dumb.
It was what?
Yeah, it's a dumb name. Yeah.
Oh, come on, tell me.
Yeah. Māori boy, Māori boy. Yeah.
He's the most visible face of Māori activism. Confrontational and controversial to some, an artivist to others. Tame Iti was at the centre of Stuff's recent formal apology to Māori, yet he's long been a disruptor. What was your first protest you ever got involved in?
At school, when the principal of the school made a statement that I will not allow you to speak Māori on my school ground.
How did your protest take form?
By refusing to e kōrero te roi nā wā katoa.
Well, where was the school?
Ruatoki.
And you weren't allowed to speak Māori?
Oh, yeah. All that is too. It wasn't a Māori school. It wasn't a two-way school. It's all about how to be loyal to the state.
I met Tame on the eve of his pop-up exhibition on Ponsonby Road. It was a sellout. A former health worker, Tame attended an art therapy workshop in Canada. He's been painting ever since. What got you into painting?
Well, I always love art. Hanging out with fellow like Hone Tūpare. Then I remember attending the Ralph Hōtere exhibition in Hamilton. All the poets get together, the writers get together. On their vino, whiskey and all that. I keep away from those guys. Couldn't keep up with them. I guess for me the art is around kai roto koe I tō ira atuatanga. You become the co-creator. It's a platform that I use to put my whakaaro, to provoke some thoughts, create a conversation.
So, when I look at your art and I look back on some of the actions that you've done, your statements have been big theatrical statements, haven't they?
Yeah, well, life is theatrical. We do that every day.
I remember one time I pulled you up on stage and we were singing Treaty and you came on with the New Zealand flag, right? And then you stood on it, And I was thinking, oh, hell, because my dad was out there, ex-soldier. And when afterwards
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand all the patriarchy. It's not about them. It's about finding a way to provoke, to create a cordial, a conversation.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I do.
Yeah.
It's finding the pathway.
Everything is not rosy and cosy here in this country.
The Manamutaki or Tuhoe, where we had the embassy in Tāneatua, the group decided that they will create this eviction notices. Those are residing on stolen property. We are giving you a whole year to vacate. And for further information, please contact your local MP and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
And you went to China during the Cultural Revolution, which was a very brutal time and very controversial around the world. What did you learn over there that you brought back here?
I thought the enemy was blonde hair, blue eyes, and white skin. But after going through all of that learning, changed my whole thinking. And actually hasn't got nothing to do with the colour of your skin and the colour of your eyes.
It was a class thing?
Yeah, well, it's a political thing, depending on which side you're sitting on.
Yeah.
After graduating from a trade training scheme, Tame was introduced to a group of city-raised university students.
What was the main point that you were trying to make, ngā tamatoa?
Having a voice, I guess. That was the time when racism really out there. You go to places like in Christchurch, there it was very difficult to find a place there to stay there, only because of the colour of your skin. I don't know whether you remember when you had to go to the movies and they used to play God save the Queen. And so everybody had to stand up. And I remember the guy from behind us came, excuse me, please stand. You know how we reacted, responded. We ended up having a fight.
In 2007, the police conducted Operation 8, alleging Tame and 17 others were running a military-style terrorist training camp in Te Urewera. What were you actually doing?
Well, I've been doing stuff there in the night for many years as a detached work. I think it's about motivation, about bringing people together. Hey, of course we can run around with guns, nothing wrong with that. Having a conversation, having a koro, we stuck to the books.
There was a significant risk, and I deemed it prudent to act now rather than allow this risk to continue.
We already knew that they were spying on us.
So you knew about it, but you were still doing it?
Yes.
Deliberately?
Well, there's nothing wrong with what we're doing.
So was it theatrical?
Yes, theatrical.
It was a very expensive theatrical performance.
Yes.
I mean, you had lawyers involved and you ended up in jail.
But it's just as paranoia, making up stuff. We had no plans. There was no plans about killing people in our community because that's what they think that we were doing, planning to do some crazy stuff. That's not us.
The only charges that stuck were firearms related. Tame spent 2 years in Waikeria. What sort of stuck out for you when you were in jail? What did you observe in there?
A lot of young people. A lot of young people there for a long time.
A lot of the inmates in there would have recognised you.
Oh, yeah. They say dumb things like that. You should have come down to see us. We would have come down to your camps.
Many people were surprised and shocked by what happened in Christchurch. Terrorism attack. Were you?
Yeah. Terrible. And I think that what also terrible about it, that they were busy watching everybody else except those particular people that it's a huge threat there to our society.
Are you colonised? Would you describe yourself as colonised?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So
we've been colonised the last 200 years.
Yeah.
A lot of our people in denial about that whole concept. And I think we just need to accept that. Yeah, because we buy their petrol, we buy their butter, pay tax. Yeah, we need to sort of find a pathway that one day we can let it go.
So you stood for Parliament?
I know I had no chance of getting into Parliament. That's not what the issue is about. It's really it's a platform, it's a place there we're able to be a whakateka.
Tuhoe settlement in 2014. What's it like post-settlement? Is it all it's cracked up to be?
Yeah, I think there's a real challenge around drifting away from the main core people of whānau hapu. So they create a new empire, iwi bureaucrats, which all the iwi throughout the motu are going through all of that. So we need to try and navigate ourselves away so we don't end up the same way and become another colonizer internally.
I remember when I interviewed Sid and he said that being an activist took up a lot of his energy and he had regrets about, maybe he didn't put enough time into his kids, his family suffered.
All of that, the same. You had to catch up with your children a few years later, and patch it up and have a chat to each other about it because your relationship is the movement, the people, the whānau, and the things that you believe in it.
There was a period where I just thought he was a troublemaker. I didn't understand what he was doing. I'd often see him in the newspaper or on the TV. But yeah, I loved him. He was my father.
Reckon you're a better koro now?
I think so. I tried to be.
If you look back at everything that you've done, and you've done a lot, what would you describe the connecting thread or theme for you?
Yeah. I think it's a, you know, we see things. When we see things, we hear things. And, you know, sometimes a lot of people just walk away and don't deal with it. And they see things, and they go, and they turn a blind eye and go somewhere else. I'm not that person.
You would have heard this song a few times
Yeah.
on every protest march I've ever been on.
Oh, yes.
Kia maura ki te mana motu hake me te aroha. Hey, yeah. Hey, yeah. Give our land back. Hey, kia ora.